The gaming backlog is somewhat of a rite of passage and a cause for shame, with many video game players having several titles that they've never finished, or perhaps never even played at all, sitting on their shelves. I think the biggest challenge that comes with a backlog is the fact that we often don't know where to start. For fans of RPGs and JRPGs, these games can represent a combined thousands of hours of gameplay, and with new games coming out every month or so, the pile only grows higher. While my channel primarily focuses on new releases, there are so many stories for us to experience together from over 30 years that it would be a shame to at least not try to knock out a few of the highlights from my backlog. With that said, and in no particular order, here are the 5 RPGs that I want to try to beat in 2021 from my extensive backlog. Number 1 is Lost Odyssey by Mistwalker Studio on the Xbox 360. It was published by Microsoft Game Studios and is considered to be the premier JRPG on the platform. Lost Odyssey has you following the story of Kaim, an immortal man who has lost his memories. Lost Odyssey was supposed to be Microsoft's answer to Final Fantasy in Japan to grow the audience of the American-made console in the East. I started it once back when it launched on the Xbox 360, but never got past the first disc. As someone who tries to support all of the JRPGs on Microsoft's family of consoles, I feel like it's time to go back to the classics sometime this year and give it a proper playthrough and review. The best part is the Xbox Series X takes Xbox 360 titles and gives them a few enhancements to speed up load times and give smooth frame rates. Speaking of Xbox, World of Final Fantasy Maxima on the Xbox One is another title that I purchased alongside a few other games in a sale, played the first hour of, and never finished. This game is set in the land of Grimoire and tells the story of Lon and Rain, 2 siblings who have to tame monsters and befriend characters from other Final Fantasy games to reclaim their lost memories. World of Final Fantasy is a nostalgia trip, letting you meet and interact with classic heroes of light going back all the way to the original title. The monster catching and team building system has a lot of depth to be explored, and the gorgeous world filled with chibi versions of friends and foes from the Final Fantasy series is pretty adorable. Number 3 on my list is Tales of Everything. No, I know that's not the name of a game, but it is the name of my problem. Do I play Tales of Legendia on the PS2? Or perhaps Grace's F, or maybe Tales of Xillia and its sequel on the PS3. Don't get me started on Tales of Berseria and Tales of Zestria on the PS4, just sitting on my shelf staring at me. With Tales of Arise hopefully coming out in 2021, I want to go back and play at least one of the classics on my backlog. Perhaps this is where you, dear viewer, can help. Which Tales game should I try to beat before Arise releases? I'm leaning towards Grace's F or Berseria, but I would be happy to conquer either or even Xillia. Let me know down in the comments below. Now, while I love JRPGs, I also really enjoy first-person Western RPGs like Fallout New Vegas. So when Obsidian announced and released The Outer Worlds in 2019, I knew it would be a game I absolutely wanted to spend some time with. Unfortunately, there's a downside to something like Xbox Game Pass where I initially played the game. Games as a part of a subscription service are more likely to end up in your backlog than games that you have actually purchased. Well, now that I've ordered a physical copy of the game, I think it's time to actually play and review this new RPG. Will it be my Spacer's choice? I guess we'll find out, hopefully. And I say hopefully because the last series on my list is, without a doubt, the most daunting part of my backlog. I have the entire Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel quadrilogy sitting on my shelf, and the entire Trails in the Sky series sitting in my Steam library. Combined, we're looking at several hundred hours of gameplay, and this doesn't even include the games that have received fan translations that I could also add to the list. I'm aware that the Legend of Heroes / Kaseki games are incredibly popular, and that I should really play them, but I'm also unsure of if I should even start or where. Some say start at the beginning. Others say start with Cold Steel. I'm leaning towards just jumping into Cold Steel, but I don't know. And for the record, I'd only play 1 or 2 games in this series in 2021, there's no way I'll get to them all. And with that, those are the games I would like to beat in 2021, and that's only the RPGs. I also have Resident Evil Remake 2 and 3 that I would also like to play and also would like to review. I think we'll be bringing back our side quest reviews in 2021. I guess we'll see how well we do at the end of the year with all of these games in my backlog in some sort of follow-up video. But let's face it, you and I both know that I probably won't get to all these games. And once the Mass Effect Trilogy Remaster comes out, well, I know what I'll be doing. What are the games in your backlog that you would like to conquer in 2021? Let me know down in the comments below.